Fancy Communist Emma, I just want to say thank you for your courage and for taking a stand for a marginalized community, even if it puts you at odds with some of your closest friends. And I'm sorry you had to do it publicly. I hope people can see the rhetoric they've been spewing is harmful. Yeah, I mean, look, it's like I've been very uncomfortable about the whole thing. I think that's kind of reverberated in the way that I've responded on air. I don't like this. I don't like it at all. But I did obviously just try to engage yesterday on social media. Most of this audience probably just has no idea what this is. This like Twitter drama. But yeah, Jank and I got into a back and forth, and like I feel like he kind of took it to a personal place. And I got to be honest, like I was hurt by that for sure. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and maybe that comes off as weak or lame. That people have seen me cry on air. That's just who I am. I can't really change it. But I did want to respond to it because the crux of it just seems like that the language is alienating and it's clumsy and it's unpopular, and that will hurt the Democrats electorally. It doesn't seem to have any like evidence behind it because the Democrats have been doing quite well electorally. And yeah, I'm sure if you ask people about the term birthing person, it's really unpopular because it's designed to protect a minority of people. They are minority. So the people that are more drawn to that inclusive language are going to be in the minority. So the fact that the majority are opposed to it doesn't mean that it's right. And I think that popularism and majority-focused politics are kind of short-sighted. I said this earlier in the context of the fact that the squad, Rashida Tlaib, AOC, Cori Bush, Bowman, and more all signed. Ayanna Pressley all signed that letter in to Biden to drop the charges against Julian Assange. And Julian Assange may not be a popular guy, but it is the right thing to do for press freedom. And so is standing up for trans people and inclusive language. We should listen to them if they say that it makes them more comfortable broadly. And so yeah, popularism is very limiting because the Republican Party doesn't care about popularism. Abortion rights are super popular. Gun control, super popular.
They spent half a century mounting a judicial, legislative, political, and financial campaign to enact a change at the Supreme Court that is one of the most unpopular and politically devastating things that they've ever done to themselves.
But it was power, and that's how
simply exerting power.
Yeah,
it's realpolitik. That's the
grown-ups' view of politics. And I also think that popularism focuses too much on electoralism, which, when you're really building coalitions, that's a true power base, and that's how you have sustained power, and that includes taking the right positions, even if they aren't currently popular, because you're protecting a minority in this country. Like, again, Martin Luther King, very unpopular until after he died and became a martyr. The civil rights movement wouldn't happen if we were only doing things that were popular. That's a counterfactual. I'm obviously speaking with broad strokes, but like rights for black people, not popular at certain points. Gay marriage, not popular until advocates were just unflinching and essentially began fighting on behalf of the minority of people in this country. And you saw from the early 2000s to when Biden goes on Ellen and speaks about it, and Democrats start embracing it in the mainstream, then it becomes more popular because of that unflinching advocacy when it was the minority position. That's what we have to do, because on the left, our emphasis is just as important as the content of what we say. To borrow from Matt Leck in Abstentia, we only have a finite number of things to emphasize. I choose not to emphasize the fact that some of the language can be clumsy in certain contexts.
I think that's the most important thing, beyond all of this is that you are entitled. Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, no matter how shitty or short-sighted or inconsiderate I might think that it is. But if you have a platform like we do, and it's not even saying we have the same platform as, much larger media figures, but we have something. There is import in that, and there is a responsibility in that. And what points of emphasis that people choose to make, that's their opinion, sure, but it's also a choice. Mm-hmm. It's also an intentional choice to be making.
And I don't love the just, I'm a free thinker and so I'm going to say how I feel. It sounds like a right-wing thing to say, honestly, being like a free thinker, because of course
it isn't just about you.
Right, we of
it's
course
not just
have
about us.
Intellectual thoughts that are not, a part of a dogma, but I pride myself on incorporating what I hear from trans people, non-binary people, or any other group, Black people, Indigenous people, and using that in my commentary, because I'm not a part of those communities. I grew up privileged. I'm a white woman. It's really my responsibility to carry water for that. That's how I feel about my job, at least. So
and to listen, and to listen, and to also be willing to accept that maybe we could be wrong about our initial analysis about something, or maybe that something that we said or did could be construed differently, or be construed in a different way, and not react to that with completely self-righteous indignation.
It's about advocacy versus my thought, and I want to be an advocate. And so, guys, no more I-ams about this, please. I've addressed it. You guys can go on Twitter and check it out if you want. Just please, please understand that it makes me uncomfortable, and that as much as you want to hear a disavowal, I've given it. And if you care about the show, you care about me, just please understand that this is difficult for me. So I would appreciate if we could just kind of stop now. Yeah,
and just not to beat a dead horse about this at all. Emma does not need me to defend her or to white knight for her or anything like that. But
we are buddies.
Exactly. But she's not an ombudsman for other left-wing commentators. She is not a PR person for them, and she's not a spokesperson for them. It is not required of her to be reached for comment every time they say something that might be unfavorable or might be something that you don't necessarily agree with, or that we don't agree with.
Yeah.
It's not her responsibility, and it's not our responsibility. So whatever you could be considered or misconstrued as something akin to silence, it's not silence.
Right.
She has addressed this multiple times on multiple platforms, and she doesn't need to do it for every single comment that comes our way in the public sphere. So,
appreciate it. All right, let's take one more call while I check out. I'm going to check out that new sound as well, because Trump did this batshit interview on with Tucker Carlson that we want to get into, and then we'll do it. So calling from a 714 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Hi. This is Mitch from Glendale. First time caller.
Mitch from Glendale. What's on your mind?
Well, I'll just say this. You just addressed it, so I respect your opinion.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anymore. All I can say is I appreciate the show. I don't believe in cancellation. I don't think they should be canceled. I don't want to write off the 20 years that they've been around, that they've advocated for rights. I just think hopefully they can take constructive criticism more constructively with good faith people like you and Lance and Humanist Report. And I think hopefully down the line they can at least adapt to some of the language that they have been saying in, I think, a very disrespectful way. And I just want to say, I don't want you to mention it more often, but I just want to say that. I don't believe in cancellation. No, I think you're doing a good job, and I think they're a good show, but I think they're misguided at this point.
I hear you on that. It's so funny. Your first time caller, pick up your call, and it's right about this topic as well. But you're doing it in a kind way. I really appreciate the nice words, and yeah, I get what you're saying.